So 2020 has been a really weird year. So we've seen loads of people come into cycling, which is great because the numbers have boomed. But then there's been no events to go to. So we've not been to Eurobike or Sea Otter or anything to see all the cool stuff.
Yeah, I've missed racing, but that doesn't matter though, because there has still been a lot of cool tech out there that has caught our eye. Sort of new components that we've seen just emerging through the industry online, and also clever tech at races as well. The few races that have happened.
Yeah, do you know what? The small race scene has actually been really good, actually.
Because it's been so intense, isn't it? It's just been compact.
Right, let's dive in. Okay, so there's so much to talk about. We're probably going to miss half of it. So you're going to have to help us by attacking us in those comments underneath. But be nice, because we just want to get enthusiastic about it. Yeah. So let's talk about suspension first, because I think there's been loads of cool new suspension items out there.
There has actually, yeah. There's been a few forks emerged through this year. So first up, it's the RockShox Zeb.
Oh, yeah.
Now this is fork. Yeah, tell me about it. So this is RockShox's new big, burly, badass fork, designed to tackle pretty much everything, really.
Yeah, strange name, Zeb, named after Zebulon Pike. I believe the explorer that founded Pikes Peak, or gave Pikes Peak its name. And that's where the RockShox base is, in Colorado, very close to Pikes Peak.
Fountain of knowledge, man.
Yeah, so it's also a slightly bigger, burlier version of the Pike, which is out there.
Well, I couldn't have told you that, but I can tell you it's 160 to 119 mil.
190 mil on a single crown.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest single crown, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
That I know of, that's for sure. Yeah, 27.5 and 29-inch models, which is great. There's 5 different models. So there is the Zeb Select, Select Plus, Ultimate, and Dual Position Air.
Do you know what? They're very good at doing this, RockShox. Giving something for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, even as a very expensive fork, there's still a budget offering.
Yeah, SKF wiper seals on it, so nice and sealed.
Super low friction, this fork is.
And no crap going to get in there, which is good. So
I mean, I'm not exactly light, shall we say, and this thing is so stiff. I mean, hopefully it's a slow motion, as you can see on screen now. Even under full compression, and you think how much a fork would be moving that's much lighter. So it's 38mm stanchion tubes.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, compared to what the Pike's 35mm, which even that's not skinny, that's a stiff fork.
What's a Lyric?
I think they're 35 as well.
Are they?
Actually, yeah, I think so. And then you got the Fox 36 as 36, Fox 38 at 38.
And funny you should mention that, because that is the other sort of new fork of the year, the Fox 38.
I have a lot of love for that fork. I really do. It's forking amazing.
Oh,
sorry.
No.
Sorry. I couldn't help it.
Come on.
I couldn't help it. I went all a bit Martin Ashton there.
Oh, fork me.
I'll fork off.
We can keep going. Anyway, again, so this is 160 to 180 mil, so 10 mil less than the Zeb. It's not all about the length, though, is it, Dolly?
No, it's not. Absolutely not. I mean, there's some shorter presenters like Blake will tell you that. I don't know where we were going with that. But interesting that it doesn't go up to 190 like the Zeb.
No, maybe they just thought that was just unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, the Zeb is, as far as I know, it's about 250 grams lighter than the Boxer, which of course goes to the 200mm and upwards. The Fox 40, I think it's actually a pretty similar weight range to that as well, but obviously it's quite a jump, you know, over 20mm bigger to go up and travel.
Interestingly, so they do 4 different models. They do the Factory Performance, Elite Performance, and an e-bike specific model.
Yeah. So has that got a reinforced steerer tube, as far as
I have no... What makes an e-bike for...
I'm pretty sure it's a reinforced steerer tube, like an elliptical internal on the steerer.
So, I don't want to go too off topic, but why wouldn't you just want that normally to make a fork stiffer?
Makes it heavier.
That's it, though?
Pretty much, yeah. I did see, now this it hasn't been talked about that much yet. This is going back to RockShox, sorry, but I think this is going to happen across the board. If you look in the small print on the RockShox Zeb press release, at the very bottom, in very small writing, so small that you can barely see it, most people haven't talked about, they're going to be offering it with a 1.8-inch steerer tube, which will be the new e-bike standard. Free ride standard.
Yeah.
We had look, we've got the totem there, the original. That's 40mm stanchions, 1.5-inch.
I remember those days, yeah.
That was ahead of the time, but actually, from what I remember riding that, I mean, that's my fork, they were too stiff. They were so stiff, it was, you know, the Boxer had an element of flex that was good for comfort and traction. I think those were so stiff that you didn't get
Some racers do like to use the Lyric still over the Zeb, the RockShox athletes, because it has that slightly
more
more
flex.
Yeah. Why would I take it? So, Fox have put that on their 38, the elliptical steerotube tube. Why wouldn't you put an elliptical steerotube tube on a 36 to make it stiffer?
I guess because of the 38, they're trying to change the intention of the owner of those forks.
Okay.
Because the 36 used to go up in travel. You could get them up to 180 mil way back. I had a 180 mil travel 36, but always felt like it was too much travel for how stiff the fork was. So I'd imagine it's because they just creating clear divisions between the two.
Fair enough.
The 38 is not much heavier than the 36.
No.
It's also got those really cool little bleed ports for atmospheric pressure balance on them, which we need all the time when you're riding at Forest of Dean. You know, every other run you've got to bleed out the hair.
After that minute run.
I've not used them on my 36s. No. Don't need them at all.
Interestingly, these new forks, they do have a sort of newer lower leg arch, which are more rounded profile.
But that in itself is actually something quite cool. So most of our viewers would comment on when they first came out saying, they don't look as good. They're, isn't it funny how they've gone round and RockShox has gone square? They've both gone the opposite way around.
Okay.
But there's a reason for it. So a lot of brands are starting to go with shorter offset forks. So that's bringing basically the upper legs of the fork closer back towards the frame. And as frames are getting bigger and stronger, under full compression on these bigger travel forks, you're getting clearance issues with that fork brace or the fork arch and the head tube. So by redesigning the lower archway, basically, which is now round on the Fox fork and actually sticks out slightly, it gets around any frame design with any offset. That's why they've done it, basically. And actually, I think they look way nicer. Now I've got used to them. When you look at the old design actually looks a bit clunkier, weirdly.
Every day's a school day, eh?
Okay.
What else we got?
Ohlins. Well, we haven't yet. We have seen it, we're calling it the RXF38. I've seen it on some e-bikes.
What size stanchions have they got?
38. Funny that, isn't it?
No way.
Yeah. So everyone launches a 38. We haven't seen it yet, but there's another brand out there that didn't bother going to 38. They went to 37, Manitou.
Why not?
Meza. So Manitou were always a phenomenal brand, and they had some tough years where they weren't, I don't know what happened with the business side of things, but they kind of went off the boil a bit.
They did,
but they're
sadly
firmly back, and the Meza is a phenomenal fork. Now, the interesting thing is the weight of it. So the Meza is available 160 to 180 mil travel, so it could sit in the Lyric to the Zeb kind of area.
I think it's in that, I would say so.
And the cool thing about it, so it weighs 2,090 grams. And if you look at the Zeb, so a Zeb in the 27.5 weighs 2,274 grams, fair bit heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Fox 38, 2,180 grams. Obviously, there's loads of different models available at different weights. So, but the point is, it's lighter, and they claim that they've kept the same stiffness as the 38mm forks by the combination of their reverse arch, and it's got a hexagonal axle basically on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, so obviously, because obviously the axle's not going to twist as easily as a rounded axle. Yeah. So that's a good idea. And of course, I've forgotten all about their reverse arch.
Yeah. Which is bizarre looking.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I mean, it annoys me from a mudguard point of view, which shouldn't really annoy me, but we use mudguards all the time here in the UK. Yeah. But I love the look of the fork. It looks amazing. It's got loads of cool features. The damper in it is phenomenal.
Yep.
And it's got that infinite rate tuning. So think of it as a more advanced version of what you can achieve with air volume spacers.
Okay.
It's an infinitely adjustable ramp. So some volume spacers, I don't know if you've played around with them enough to notice this, that if you put too many in, you can feel really harsh towards the end of travel.
Oh, yeah.
But you can also notice it in the mid.
Yes, for sure.
Whereas the Manitou version, it's a much smoother rate at which it ramps up.
That's clever.
And it feels phenomenal. It feels really good.
Didn't know that.
I still don't have a set on a bike though. Just saying.
Just putting it out there. And you've got a Doddy favourite, isn't there?
Yeah. The Formula Mod shock. Again, I've not ridden this shock yet, but what they're doing with the shock is just brilliant. So it's a low pressure shock. So they do it in a coil shock version, but you still have a pressure on the inside. So essentially it's a coil shock, but it's a bit different to the way other brands are doing it. So typically you would have nitrogen charged in the shock.
Yes,
which
you do,
isn't really something you can do yourself. Well, you could, but you need a lot of equipment for it.
Wow.
So you have the IFP, the internal floating piston. But they've abandoned that system, so using a bladder system, and it's a much lower air pressure. And the cool thing about that is it's much slicker in its action.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that the reason behind it?
Yeah. So EXT with their Storia shock, that's also a super low pressure shock and insanely supple. The feel of the shock.
Like that small bump, small to like mid.
Unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
Like so good. So Formula basically kind of thinking along the same sort of lines as EXT. But also, they've done this really cool feature where you can change the compression damping unit. You can just take it out yourself, and there's got a choice of 3 different ones. You literally screw it in, and it totally tailors how the feel of the shock is.
Well, I
think it's amazing. And I'm really keen to spend a bit of time on one at some point. Not ridden a Formula shock ever, and not ridden anything from Formula for some time. And most of the things they're doing are really good.
Yeah, they've been pushing it hard this year, haven't they?
Yeah,
they've been putting some big leaps and bounds.
On the social front, they've been doing some brilliant videos about suspension and dynamics and stuff. I think they've got a really good social presence. That Silver fork is really cool as well. They've got a very different approach to...
some clever engineering. I like is it like they've got a real cool dial set up on the top?
That's right, with their compression adjusting on there.
Yeah.
Then they've even got their air volume spaces, which are compressible. Unlike the plastic ones that you get on, or nylon, you get on the inside of RockShox and Foxons, the Formula ones actually compressed, again, for that smoother feel.
Yeah.
So very cool stuff from Formula.
Nice. Well, let's flip things upside down, quite literally.
Yeah.
With the very stunningly made Intend inverted fork, an upside down fork. Now, upside down forks polarise opinion on looks and how they work, really.
They look better. That's my opinion.
Okay. Don't even think about that, Doddy. Just take your time there. They do look cool. They do look bad. They always just make me think of moto. I've never used one. But have you?
I've not the Intend, but I have used loads of inverted forks.
Okay.
The problem they suffer with is either they're flexier than the way up
there's
we
no
have.
arch, obviously, so they twist.
Or the ones that are stiff enough end up being heavier because they're overbuilt to be stiff.
Yeah.
However, the action is what you're looking for. So if you think on a regular mountain bike, you have oil in your lower legs to lubricate them. It tends to sit at the bottom, and each manufacturer has a different series of channels to help the oil get up to the bushes and the seals. Whereas when the fork's inverted, it's always where it needs to be. So they always work so well. So there's a lot of school thought to say an inverted, or the correct way up technically with motorbikes, should be better.
Well, let's go from the slightly odd looking to the quite odd looking, and that is the Trust fork. Now, you have used these, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
And they look pretty mental. You can check them out on screen now. They are different.
Yeah, do you know what? I've got a little thing for them.
Oh.
Like, I don't think it's a particularly good looking fork. It's kind of ugly, but I actually love the way it looks as well.
It's such an
obscure thing. Well, it's bizarre because you can't compare it to anything else. It doesn't feel like anything else. It doesn't work like anything else.
Okay.
It's a very different fork, but I think the bigger thing is the fact that they really try to think about the dynamics of what's going on the bike and how it works. And although they're no longer with us for the short term,
Are they?
Unfortunately, they're one of the brands that really suffered COVID.
Oh.
So at the exact time when they needed to upscale so they could reduce their costs, basically to get them out, they basically lost all their, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically the way they were getting loans and stuff, and their lead times to get spare parts made, and they basically had to press pause. So, but I don't think that means they're gone.
R.I.P. Trust, maybe.
I think you might see something again down the line, because what they've achieved is incredible. Imagine riding a fork that you ride literally into square objects, you just simply do not feel them. Like, it's unlike anything else, and your angles in your bike don't change. You get more trails, it gets more stable as you compress rather than less.
Yeah, okay.
They're mind-blowing at some things, but they certainly don't suit everyone, that's for sure.
Right, well, fair enough. Always use protection, Doddy. It's the safe way.
I take it you mean like helmets and things?
Obviously.
Yeah, okay, yep.
And the freshest, and I think possibly one of the nicest bit of protection to come out this year, is the new TLD D4. It's a looker.
Do you know what? I think Troy Lee have probably made the nicest looking mountain bike helmets of all time.
100%.
Just as a brand,
no, not 100%.
overall. Yeah, not 100%. Dude, that's bad. So what, the D3 was pretty old, like 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, about 11 years.
It doesn't feel that old though, does it? It's crazy.
And it still looks really modern.
It
like,
does.
you could just wear a D3 now and be like, oh, that's just a normal, legit looking, well good helmet. But yeah, 09 that D3 came out, and D4 came out this year.
I remember it coming out. That's bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Gosh.
2009. Wow.
Quality paint jobs as always, as you'd expect from Troy Lee.
It's got MIPS in it now as well, isn't it? So
it does,
everyone's adding or looking towards sort of rotational injury prevention.
I mean, D3 did have MIPS in, but it was bought in
on the later editions, I guess, was it?
Yeah, a lot after it came out. But yeah,
I have a feeling that the later helmets, when they added the MIPS in, it might have compromised the fit slightly.
I think it was I think this
has been designed around having
it in. Exactly, yes.
Yeah, so it fits correctly to start with. I mean, I'm just looking at it on screen. I think it's still one of the greatest looking helmets of all time.
Yeah. And what about this? Titanium D-ring fasteners.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because why not? Why not?
Absolutely, why not? And also, it doesn't corrode, so when you're sweating, you've got your nice D-ring underneath your chin there. 24 vents, 11 frontal intakes, 6 overhead intakes, and 7 exhaust ports on the rear.
Exhaust ports, right.
They wouldn't be exhaust ports for me. I don't ride fast enough to make them do that.
No, I think that's one of the big things of this helmet over its predecessor is the fact that it is slightly more vented. Because that was always, I daren't say, the slight problem with the D3 is that you did get a bit hot in it.
Yeah.
And especially with sort of this modern crop of full-face helmets coming out, you've got the protection of an amazing helmet, but now you've actually got a bit more cooling in there as well.
Yeah, I guess enduro racing probably really helped influence this.
I think so.
Needing that extra protection, but you just simply couldn't run a helmet when you run.
Because they do make their slimmed back full face. What's it called? What's it called?
Stage.
Is that what it's called?
I think.
Stage. Yes, but it's obviously a lot more open, a lot less of protection than a traditional full face. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, well, in the open face variety, I'm going to throw out that Gyro Manifest, which is their trail helmet using the spherical MIPS system. I mean, this is probably the most expensive mountain bike trail helmet out there, but it's got all of the technology as far as head safety goes into it. So you've got a spherical MIP, so you basically bolt yourself into one layer, and the outer whole layer moves around like a ball and socket joint.
Yep.
So for those sort of oblique sort of style impacts, really,
very clever.
There's not going to be anything better than that.
And you only get one head, so you might as well look after it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also the sheer amount of vents on it. So hopefully you're looking at an image of it on screen at the moment. Look at the size of those massive vents on the front. So that's achieved by this big aramid bridge that goes, it basically is a structural part of the helmet. It's just phenomenal what they've achieved with this helmet. And it's also got a bit of like a dual density construction. So the inner and the outer parts of the helmet are made from different density EPS.
Okay.
So think of it as like volume spacers for your head.
I'm not saying anything.
So progressively sort of controls the impact. I think it's pretty cool.
Miscellaneous tech.
Yeah, there's loads of it. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. There's far too much on this list to get through.
Yeah, this is where you guys at home could definitely let us know if we've missed anything, which I think we probably, I don't say will have.
Oh, they've been talking about tech once a week, every week all year.
How could you miss anything? Well, there's
not enough. There's not enough script to put it in.
All right, let's kick things off. Bergtech, British brand.
Yep, bit of a cult following actually.
They do.
Yeah, they're not the biggest, but somehow they've got a really big name.
And do you know what? They sponsor one of the biggest teams out there, the Syndicate.
They do.
For their flat pedals, which have been around now, and they're on the Mark V.
Yeah, sounds about right.
This year's the Mark V. So.
And they're called Penthouse Flats, aren't they?
Penthouse.
Yeah.
Which is a wicked name for a product.
It is
Penthouse
good.
Flat.
I've got to say, I am kind of disappointed because there was an in-house thing with them years ago that they were going to release a budget version and call it the Council Flat. I just think it's a missed opportunity. Sorry.
There's still time, maybe.
A lot of people wouldn't have found that very funny, but it would have been a nice, cheeky little name.
I quite like that, yeah. No, very nice, very solid. Coming now, composite as well.
Yeah, there's a few brands doing the composite thing. In fact, DMR sent us some of their composite pedals a few weeks back.
Here's one we prepared earlier.
Yeah, so same thing. And many people might think of a composite or nylon glass fibre pedal as budget. They're not budget. This is a high-end pedal. The cool thing about these that some viewers actually spoke about is when you impact these on rocks, you don't feel that shock. Like an alloy pedal, it transmits it straight to your foot. With these, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
That's something that Ollie Wilkins was telling us about them as well.
And it's worth noting, actually, the pins are still metal, so they're still grippy in that sense. So some people always thought that composite pedals are really slippery and not very good, but the pins themselves are still metal. They're not like a moulded plastic pin, if you like. What have we got next?
I was going to throw in Shimano Dior 12-speed. Cheapest 12-speed, super good transmission. I haven't got enough good things to say about it.
I can only sing my praises about that too, actually.
Yeah. And it's fully featured as well, so some other brands offer great value stuff as well, but it's nice to see that Shimano haven't watered anything down on there. Nope. So they've got a micro spline on all of their 12-speed, so you could upgrade to an XTR cassette if you had money falling out your pocket. Or
just going to say that. I was literally going to say what's really clever is that actually all the group sets are almost completely interchangeable. So you could run a Dior cassette on an XTR mech or an XTR shifter on a Dior mech or something.
And actually, that's probably the way I'd do it. I would always pick a better shifter, and I'm not as fussed about the rest of the transmission. I'm really picky about the feel when I change gear. and then the rest, no problem. You're going to wear it out or smack it on a rock anyway, aren't you?
Yep.
So I think really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Here's something I don't know too much about. VHS mountain bike with their chain silencer.
Yeah, so that is pretty much like one of my very favourite things.
Here we go.
It's pretty much a posh version of this 3M rubber mastic tape, but it's been designed, it's got air bubbles in it, but like really big ones. This is a shot on screen, and it makes your bike completely silent.
Well, when you said a posh version, I thought you meant, was it well spoken or something?
Oh yeah, it's very well spoken, yeah. It doesn't speak back to you. So, but it's super cool, and if your bike doesn't have any chainstay protection built into it, it really does silence the chain slap. Phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, and a quiet bike's a fast bike, isn't it?
Yeah, I hear there's a version 2 coming as well. So this is coming from Queenstown. I think it's Fergus, the guy behind the brand. He got in touch and said, hey, there's another model coming out very soon. So we don't know what it looks like yet, but I imagine he's just revised it somehow.
It's even better spoken.
Yeah, but it's very cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, rather.
The masters of machining. Hope. Carbon, not machining.
Well, it's just the most extortionately expensive, almost pointless tech, but you can make your SRAM Access mech like 7 grams lighter, so why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, so I thought you were talking about that Specialized balance bike for a moment there.
Oh, no, well...
Close.
I wouldn't say it's hopelessly Sorry.
Oh my
really bad.
God. Holy crap.
No, that's to be fair, it's a really good bike. And if you haven't seen it, this is that Specialized balance bike.
Yeah.
It's £1,000. £1,000. Would you spend £1,000 on your kid on a balance bike? I don't know, but without a doubt, it's got to be the coolest one on the face of the planet, which is clever. And they've got everyone talking about it, so they've done their job really well.
True. Do you know something even more tricker than that balance bike is the stuff that Danger Home does?
Oh man, this guy winds me up. So he does the most insane bike projects, and I've batted mails back and forth with him. Like we need to go and see him. I think when all this sort of COVID nonsense gets out of the way, just to see his approach. I mean, the fact that he takes paint off carbon frames with a knife blade just. It makes me itch thinking of how he does this stuff, but he makes the lightest and most insane builds. Yeah, so he's made the lightest 29er downhill bike out there at £29.5. See, that I can't quite get my head around how light that is. Ooh, no. My new Reactor weighs about £32. That's a trail bike. Yeah, mine, yeah. I mean, he just takes it above and beyond, doesn't he? Yeah. I think he's one of the tech greats, actually. I think one of the coolest. I mean, we featured Danger Home last year as well, but he keeps on churning out amazing stuff. Yeah, I saw a really clever little Di2 hack he did the other day where he inbuilt the button into the shifter button into the grip, wasn't it? Oh, nice. Yeah. Actually, I think I did see that. Yeah, very clever stuff. So it's not just it's not like just going back to basics with stripping frames and the lightest parts you can get, but it's actually sort of clever tech innovations like that as well, which are really good. He also built, I think, one of the lightest cross-country bikes possible. I think so. I need to check the weight on it because I did write this down because it was such a joke. Yeah, sub 8 kilograms. That's 17.64 pounds. My 4-month-old son is heavier than that. Road bikes are heavier than that. It's crazy. I would love to know what a mountain bike feels like when you ride it. Like it can't ride well if it's that light, surely. I would like to put it through its properly through its paces. So if you want to send one this way, and we'll, I'll Doddy here or give some tech on it, and I will put it through its paces an XC bike. That would be really interesting to see, I think. Let's try and hook up in 21 and talk bike tech. I mean, super interesting guy. Yeah. Doing a lot of cool stuff. What else have we got? Okay, so some really cool bike builds as well. So I think Danger Home is definitely the king as far as the tech builds go, but there's a load of cool looking ones. So this one is it's a brand new Yeti, sprayed up like an old Yeti Arc. Here's the old Arc just on screen, just so you can see where the concept came from. And this is, just look at it. White porcupine tyres, loads of purple anodized stuff on there. Proper throwback there. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Yeah, so and then the Revel bike, which has been painted up the same way, and I think you'll agree it looks pretty spectacular. Yes, yeah. I mean, there's tons of sick builds going on. We've also got Kona, Honzo, ESD custom build. Yeah, so this one was actually on Kona's own website. So I think a shop owner wanted to buy a bike base. He just wanted to look a bit special, and this is it. Achieved. This is wild. I think 2021 should be the year where everyone out there should aspire to customise their bike in some form or other. Could just be some handlebar grips and matching valves.
Yeah.
Or we could go the whole hog and get a paint job done. I'd love to see that.
Hog. But yeah, there are tons of sick builds out there at the moment, and we love seeing it. If there are any more that we might have missed, I'm sure there's probably a few knocking around in there, then drop us a little note in the comments below and let us know. But I'm excited about this next little bit because this is from back in the day, and a lot of people won't have heard of this guide, but it's the return of Milliard Racing.
So, where do you even start? Father and son team. I mean, Alan Milliard, just talking about the guy that put like a V12 engine in a motorbike. Like, they said it couldn't be done. He was like, what are you talking about?
Just YouTube.
So
it's
just made it. Yeah. So, what an unbelievable man. What he has done with his son, Stephen. And they basically built a downhill race bike that had so many firsts. Had a single-sided swing arm on the rear. They built their own gearbox, their own internal transmission that never needed servicing.
Forks.
Yeah, forks, shocks, like just everything. But it's the rear shock that the first version was kind of similar technology as far as I could work out to a tank shock on it. It had like no compression or rebound, but it would self-adjust to what it needed to do. So you watch the rear end just gliding over stuff, and then it'd land off a big hit and the bike would just sit into the travel.
I always thought it was just like a small wizard was in the shock at the back, which made it do whatever magic it did.
Yeah, just phenomenal. But so pleased they're back because they've been making a load of cool YouTube videos. In fact, we're going to throw a link to Alan Milliard's YouTube channel just underneath. Have a look. He really is like the sort of the epitome of a British designer, building stuff in a garage at home, and his garage is very different to everyone else's. You know, he's got CNC machines and all sorts of crazy lathes and things in there to make stuff.
I heard it was just another house.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I visited them many years back when they first came out on these bikes, and there was literally a half-built motorbike on the landing, like as in upstairs landing. The front room had all sorts of things going on. There was a garage as well that had the lathe and stuff in there. Yeah, it's like a factory.
And actually, you're hopefully going to be visiting them as soon as possible in the new year, aren't you?
I was supposed to do it a couple of months ago, but just restrictions have just knocked their head on everything, unfortunately. So we will be doing some stuff with Stephen and Alan Milliard, in particular, checking out their Hyperride 2 shock.
Tool time! Look at that smile on his face. Yes, Tool Time Tech, to be more precise.
Should I really need to, or should we really need to talk about this? We love tools. We work with tools all day long.
Yeah, we do. And you got a tool in your hand.
My tool of the year. Yes, it's just an Allen key. Yeah, I use Allen keys every single day, and I've had my old Parker multi-tool that's faded in colour that I still won't change it for the new one, despite what they keep telling me. Oh, you should have the new one and put it on screen. I love my old one.
Old faithful.
It's all worn in, yeah. But these are amazing. The little spinny thing, the little sliding handle on the top is amazing, and they've even got a little rifled end, so when you're working on Jack's bikes, you can undo all his Allen key bolts that he rounds out.
Jack. Yeah.
They're brilliant. Yeah, they're super expensive though, but
well worth it. I mean, Allen keys are something that we do as mountain bikers use the most of any tool. So I think investing in good sets.
Yeah.
I've been drooling a bit lately.
Only a rich man buys cheap tools. There's a statement for you.
Rich by name or by bank account size?
Bank account size, I was going to say, but you should buy expensive tools, not cheap tools.
Talking of expensive tools, but delightful Abbey bike tools.
Oh,
stunning.
Tool porn, essentially.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
Very well made stuff. I
have one of their titanium hammers.
A titanium hammer.
This is, the last word and things you absolutely don't need, but absolutely have to have.
Yeah, I heard actually Thor was on the waiting list for one.
Is he? You can sit over there somewhere.
Toolbox Wars.
Hold on. Wait.
There's more.
Wait. I just forgot about this.
Oh.
In fact, given it's nearly the it is the season for giving. I thought I'd give you some of these actually. I don't know if you've seen these yet. In fact, I'll pass them over to you.
Oh, hang on.
So these fit in the end of your handlebars. They're basically bar-end plugs, but they've got a tubeless tool on them. And I've been telling people how much I love storing stuff on a bike, and these ones from Muck-Off are exactly that. Come with little rubber bungs, so they do fit any size.
Creepers.
Yeah, so that's for trimming the little rubber worm down afterwards.
Right,
Make it a bit more of a permanent fit.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Tools that you can keep on your bike, they are super helpful, especially seeing as people like in riding with like little fanny packs and bum bags and stuff these days.
Cool, these look like they're built for your pleasure.
They might be built for your pleasure, not for mine.
No, very helpful. Thank you very much. But Toolbox Wars. You all right, mate?
Yeah.
Got a mouthful.
Yeah, all good. Toolbox Wars.
Toolbox Wars.
One of the best Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
Out there.
That's just drool worthy the whole time,
and
isn't it?
I keep meaning to get my arse and gear and like maybe get like a cool toolbox or a pelly case and get involved and do one.
Yeah.
Might be one of my little sort of.
But it's not just
New Year's
toolboxes,
resolutions.
it's actually whole workshops as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think in here in the tech set, we're pretty well stocked in it. I think
Maybe we'll enter it in there. But I want to make a portable option.
Yeah,
I
like you
haven't
said,
got
one of those pelly
a full
cases.
like Pro Mechanics style one. Speaking of which, there's a couple of mechanics I just want to shout out to. Give him a follow on Instagram. First one is JP, or Jean-Pierre Jacobs. He's Spanish for the Specialised Cross Country team. Phenomenal guy, great photographer, and he's really helped us out on tech actually with some insight. So we want to do some more stuff with JP next year, and his Instagram account handle is just at the bottom of the screen there. And also BB Copeland, or Brad Copeland. So he is a wrench effectively for Kate Courtney. And same thing, he's also super helpful, been sending us little top tips and things he's been doing on Kate's race bikes. If you want some cool insight, check out their Instagram pages.
Yeah, good job all you mechanics out there. Every mechanic.
Unsung heroes.
Yeah, I think so.
For every podium or good race result, there's an amazing mechanic behind it.
Yeah, even our own Pete, who does a lot of the works on our bikes here.
Yeah, big ups to Pete.
Yep, cheers Pete.
Okay, well that's pretty much it from me and Rich here at GMBN Tech.
Yep.
I think that's a pretty fair amount of cool tech.
I think so.
No doubt we missed a load, so let us know what your favourite tech of the year is, your best bike build you've seen, your favourite videos, anything like that.
Maybe your toolbox for Toolbox Wars.
Yeah, 100%. To complete this year, I think we're going to let the best bike caves of the year play out. This was fun picking these. You guys are awesome with your bike caves.